Hey guys, it's Mac again. Welcome back to another episode of On the Road Again. And in today's episode, we got my not top 5 firearms that I've ever owned. Or in this case, I really couldn't come up with 5 that I've owned because usually if I own something, I like it. So we're gonna sub in one and we're gonna call it not top 5 of guns I've ever shot. Because the one I'm gonna add, I add for a pretty good reason. So let's get right to it. Coming in at number 5 on my not top 5, that would be the Sig Sauer Mosquito. This was the first pistol that I ever owned. I didn't start shooting handguns until probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And having absolutely zero experience with handguns, I wanted to start with something a little bit smaller than 9mm. So in all of my wisdom, I thought I'll buy a 22 pistol. And in all of my further wisdom, I thought that I should have a 22 pistol that looked tactical. And the first thing that I came across that looked really awesome was the Sig Mosquito. So it was fairly affordable. I was able to get that one fairly easily because it was sold at a shop pretty close to where I lived at the time. Went down and got it. It looked really cool actually. It was two-tone, had like a lighter silver colored slide and dark frame, black frame. Had Picatinny rail mount for a weapons mount light. But there are some significant issues with the Sig Mosquitoes that I found out later on. It's very finicky about ammo, and I couldn't shoot my favorite 22 ammo, like CCI mini mags, in my Mosquito. It would just misfeed like crazy. And I don't know, I never could shoot the gun very well. I couldn't use the ammo that I liked, so the only thing that would really feed real well was like bulk 22, like Remington, like really cheap 22 ammo. And I don't know, I never liked it. The trigger wasn't that great, the sights were pretty cheap, and I ended up trading it for something else. So I made a mistake. My daddy actually has a Buckmark 22, which is about 100 times the 22 pistol that the Sig Mosquito was. So I definitely enjoy shooting that one a whole lot more. Coming in at number 4, my first big handgun that I owned, the Glock 23. I liked it at the time, but I bought it for the wrong reasons. The Glock 23 was my first concealed carry handgun when I first got my license. And I was under the impression, again, in all of my youthful wisdom, that I needed a 40 caliber handgun for adequate self-defense. And boy, was I wrong, because what I've learned over time is that if you can shoot a handgun very well, you're a lot safer than somebody who's just carrying something that they're not very good with. And over time, I've consolidated everything to 9mm. But the Glock 23, for somebody who was starting out shooting a handgun and not very skilled, was a little too snappy. It had a little bit too much recoil for me, and with the limited amount of time that I have to shoot, and with 40 being more expensive than 9mm, I just did not get to dedicate the amount of practice and time to shooting that handgun that I probably needed to. And I shot it in one of the first competitions I ever shot in. You know, just didn't have that great of an experience with it, and ended up moving on to something else. But I never had a problem with it. It never gave me any trouble. It worked just as good as any Glock that I own. But I don't think the 40 caliber has really that much use in a handgun. A 9mm, time and time again, has proven to be, you know, better for many reasons. You know, 40 is just good if you're trying to meet power factor and USPSA, but I don't shoot USPSA, so certainly a Glock 23 does me no good. So that's the reason I included it in my not top 5, because me owning that 23 was pretty pointless. Coming in at number 3, actually a gun that I do not own, but I had to fill the spot somehow. So this is a gun that I shot in my first 3-gun competition because I borrowed it, and I didn't enjoy very much of it. When I first started shooting 3-gun, I didn't have a shotgun that was appropriate for 3-gun. I've always shot over and under shotguns or like 20 gauge shotguns when I was dove hunting or sport and clay competitions. So I ended up borrowing a Remington 870 tactical version from my best buddy Jared. It had like I want to think it had like an 18-inch barrel. It might have been 21, I don't know, but it had a short tube on it. I knew nothing about reloading a shotgun, so I was throwing shells everywhere, digging them out of my pockets, and I was probably shooting like high brass shells, probably like 3 1/4, 3 1/2 drams of powder or something. I mean, it was just kicking me to death. And it was a pump, obviously, so I'm okay with a pump shotgun. I mean, I grew up shooting one, but for your first 3-gun competition, having a gun that I had never shot before, never practiced with before, had no idea what it was going to do, at the end of the day, my shoulder was killing me. I was pretty much convinced that I did not want a Remington 870 to be my 3-gun shotgun. So that's the only reason I'm including it in the not top 5, is just because I had a bad experience with it. You know, 3-gun is fun, right? Shooting that gun was not fun. Coming in at number 2, this is starting to get tough. These two, number 2 and number 1, neither one do I remember fondly. It's going to be the Ruger LCP 380 pistol. I actually still own this one, but who knows for how long. There aren't many good things I can say about the Ruger LCP. The one good thing I can say is it's very concealable, and the reason why I still own it is because I use it for concealed carry in the summer when I'm wearing cargo shorts and, you know, a thin t-shirt. Maybe if we go to the beach or something. But that's because it, you know, fits in a small pocket. But it basically doesn't have any sights on it. It's got like a little notch in the top. It's so crude that your chances of hitting anything are like slim to none. Not only that, I know people who have had trouble with the Ruger LCP. The way the slide comes back right up the top over where the beaver tail should be, when the slide comes back with recoil, cutting, you know, the meat of their hand. Now, I've never personally had that problem, but you know, if I want like my wife to shoot this gun or something, I don't want anything that's possibly gonna, you know, scare her off from wanting to shoot or cut up her hand or something. So it's not something that I routinely shoot very much. You know, the last time I actually shot it probably was at least a year ago. And plus, you know, 380 ammo is more expensive than 9mm to shoot. And it also, in a self-defense setting, is not nearly as effective. So for that reason, the Ruger LCP is number 2 on my list. And finally, number 1, my not top 5, the most hated gun that I've ever owned, and thank God I don't own it anymore. That is the Kel-Tec PF9, also known as the worst pistol ever manufactured. I owned this one several years ago, primarily for, again, a self-defense scenario. I like to carry it. Only thing I will say, you know, PF9 stands for pistol flat 9. It is extremely small and easy to carry. Appendix carry, 4 o'clock carry inside the waistband. It's tiny. I mean, it disappears. It's really good for that. But if you ever take a Kel-Tec PF9 out and shoot it, you can't even make it through an entire box of 50 rounds before the recoil impulse is so huge on that little pistol, it will just beat your hand to death. The first time I ever tried it, I literally, like about halfway through the box, I almost wanted to just stop and go home because it was hurting my hand so much. You know, maybe I'm being a wimp or something, but shooting should be fun. And like I was saying earlier when I was talking about the Remington 870, when you get done shooting and something, you know, hurts so bad that you realize it wasn't that much fun, you might want to try something else. And that's honestly my opinion of the Kel-Tec PF9. There's nothing fun about it. And it, you know, quality-wise is a pretty crude pistol. I mean, it's got sharp edges. The sights that come on it, the edges are really sharp, so if you carry it appendix, it'll really dig into your stomach. You definitely have to wear a shirt underneath it, or else you're going to end up with scratches everywhere on your skin. So I did not carry it very long at all. I also didn't shoot it very well because the trigger was horrible. It had like the longest, heaviest trigger pull of any sort of striker fired pistol that I've ever owned. I mean, if you think a stock Glock trigger's bad, it is like completely sweet compared to the PF9. It makes it almost seem like a 1911 trigger. I mean, that's like hyperbole, obviously, but let's just say it was bad. So that's why it deserves number 1 on my not top 5. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know out of all these 5 guns if you disagree with me, or which one would you say is the worst. Or let me know down below what is your not top 5. Hope you like videos like this. I'm going to keep them coming every week on Tuesdays. Be sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. This is Mac again. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me today on my YouTube channel, and I really hope you enjoyed today's video. To subscribe for more video content every week, click the video right here. To watch more videos just like the one you saw today, click this video right here. Once again, this is Mac. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.